Welcome to Looking at Legal Stuff. Today we have a review hearing in part 3 of a case with a couple whose newborn child was removed by CPS after the hospital reported alarming behavior by both of the parents in this case. They're worried about Mom's cognitive abilities after she made strange statements in the ER and was also unable to follow basic directions from hospital staff about diapering and feeding the baby. They're also worried about her ability to bond with the baby and her lack of any prenatal care. The hospital also has grave concerns with Dad over his self reported mental health, self medication, and aggression towards the hospital staff. There are also concerns over the condition of their home and its cleanliness. Grandma wants to be the baby's guardian, but the GAL has concerns over her inconsistent answers around her daughter's mental health and stability and asks the judge to keep the baby with foster parents until they can investigate more. What will the judge think of the GAL's request? Let's find out. Don't miss part 1 and 2 of this case, which will be linked in the description box below.
2, 1. Okay, we are on record today for purposes of a review and a permanency planning hearing. This has been rescheduled, so thank you everyone for your patience on that point. But I look forward to the updates. May I have appearances, please, beginning with our guardian ad litem.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Nicole Underwood, lawyer guardian ad litem for the minor child.
Sasha Thomas, counsel for the department.
Eva Kopis, child welfare specialist with Lenawee County DHS.
Michael Brooks, I represent the mother, Jackie Lomas. Jackie
Lomas, mother.
Michael McFarland, representing the father. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Dakota Harmon Duckworth. I am the father.
All right, welcome back. Okay, Ms. Underwood, whenever you're ready.
Yes, Your Honor. I was able to meet with the minor child 2 times during this reporting period. Once at his foster placement a couple of weeks ago. He was happy. He was engaging with some toys and showing a lot of smiles, a lot of interaction. His placement indicated that he's meeting all of his milestones. That they thought maybe he had had a lazy eye, which they went got checked out to make sure that there was nothing that needed to be done there. And then I also got to observe the minor child with Miss Lomas at a visitation. So I was able to see the minor child again there. Again, he's doing well and is meeting all of his milestones that he needs to be meeting at his age. And currently he is in the least restrictive and most appropriate placement at this time.
Did you say he's too young to express a preference at this time?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, testimony today, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Your Honor. If Ms. Kopis can be sworn in.
Ms. Kopis, come on up to our witness.
You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Ms. Kopis, you've prepared a court report for today's hearing. The cover page indicates the case service plans for the parents, L&L parenting time reports for mom, Orchard's reports for mom, a rundown of classes taken by mom from CPC, and then the proof of service. Are there any other documents that you filed or circulated since filing the packet with those listed documents?
No.
Okay. And are there any updates or modifications that you're aware of that need to be made to the court report or any of the attachments?
No.
At this time, do you believe that there's still a substantial risk of harm to the child's life, physical health, or mental well-being if he were to be returned to either of his parents' care and custody today?
Yes.
And can you briefly summarize what that substantial risk of harm is?
The substantial risk of harm in regards to father would be unstable mental health. At this time, he does not appear to have the mental health stability that would allow him to appropriately parent his child at this time. And with regards to mother, her parenting skills at this time would not be adequate in order to raise Silas as he would need at this moment.
Ms. Kopis, we are on YouTube, so we'll try not to use the minor's name.
Should have warned you.
Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you for that. And what services, I guess, has the agency or the department offered to help address those risks of harm to the child?
With regards to mother, she has participated in mental health services with ACPC at this time. She is also participating in parenting education with CPC of Lenawee, Orchard Children's Center, as well as with L&L Parenting as an aide. And at this time, we are coordinating and working together to ensure that she is building her parenting skills. With regards to father, we have attempted to implement mental health services and to get him into the necessary mental health stability.
As relates to mom, these parenting classes or supports and services, would you describe those as being very hands-on?
They are very hands-on. Each of the coordinators and myself are very hands-on with mother in terms of providing instruction, providing mirroring examples, and ensuring that mom is accurately using those skills.
At the last hearing, there was some concern about mom's ability to parent even under supervision. Has there been any change to that or any update that you'd like to provide the court?
There's been no positive changes. If anything, we are starting to see mothers struggle a bit more as S becomes more mobile. The issues that we were having before in terms of her dressing him and feeding him and changing his diaper have proven to be more difficult as he is now moving, and she does continue to struggle in that area. We have not mastered certain skills that I would have expected by now, including feeding him and calculating when he's due to eat next. And those continue to be barriers for mother.
In your report, you indicated there's partial compliance, I think for both parents as relates to completing the psychological evaluation and following through with recommendations. What areas or referrals need to be addressed from those recommendations for the parents to become in compliance?
Right now, there doesn't need to be any referrals, or we need to see compliance with the services that are have been initiated and that are in place. I have not received an update regarding mother's mental health with CPC, despite efforts to reach out to them. So I, at this point, do not know exactly what mother is working on in those sessions. When I speak to her, she's unable to articulate what she is also working on in those sessions. With regards to father, it's my understanding that he does have services in place, also with a CPC of Lenawee, and that this is at the beginning stages of those services.
I'm sorry, are you saying CPC or ACPC?
I'm sorry, ACPC, I apologize.
Okay. So I believe that stands for Adrian Counseling and Psychiatry?
Psychiatric, yes.
Psychiatric care? Okay. Okay. And for father, those services at ACPC, your report indicates that he is not willing to maintain the medication or take the medication as prescribed.
So it's my understanding that following father's hospitalization, it was recommended that he participate in psychiatric medication with Lenawee County CMH. Lenawee County CMH has also recommended that he participate and take medication, as well as his new provider has also recommended medication for him as well. In my previous conversations with him, he does not appear to be open to medication. He continues to believe that he does not need medication. He believes that they are making his symptoms worse, and that if he were to continue using marijuana and caffeine, that he will be able to manage his mental health moving forward.
And has he changed to your knowledge, has he changed his mind regarding participating or engaging in therapy?
He has not. He has indicated that he will participate in therapy, as he does understand that it is a condition of the court. However, he does not believe that it will be beneficial, as he does not believe that he needs this service.
And has he continued to decline virtual parenting time since you've filed this report?
Yes.
One of the conditions that were listed, or one of the recommendations from, I believe, I don't know if I can't remember if this is Dr. Parks or Dr. Haugen, was that dad demonstrate 3 months of mental health and behavioral health stability, essentially. Do you believe that he's done that?
No.
To the best of your knowledge, since we were here last in December, has there been any more concerns about domestic violence or the parents' behaviors?
We have not received any indication of domestic violence in the home. I did ask for police reports and there was no indication that anything or that law enforcement had been out to the home. I have seen the family's new home. It does seem to be appropriate. However, I'm a little concerned that the family doesn't want to seem to purchase furniture as they're afraid that when they leave that they'll have to move that furniture. So the house does not have couches, tables. It merely has the basic necessities of their bed, a television, and a few other pieces of furniture.
And is Miss Lomas' mother, is her mother, so the maternal grandmother, she's still with the family and assisting?
She is. She did temporarily return to Washington and then she has since returned back to Michigan.
Okay. And as it go for the child's well-being, is there any updates that you'd like the court to be aware of?
When I visit S in the home, I see a very engaging child. I see him using serve and receive attachment. I see him responding to his caregiver. He appears to be meeting his milestones. That I do not see that type of interaction when he is engaging with mother and parenting time. I do not see him reaching, seeking comfort, seeking her out in any way. And so I do see differences in how he's behaving between visitation and seeing him in the home.
And I think you use a term of art, maybe in the attachment world, the serve and receive attachment. Can you just briefly elaborate what you meant by that?
Serve receive attachment is where if you were to smile the baby would smile back at you. So you give them essentially an emotion or attachment and then they mimic it back to you. And this builds trust and bonding moving forward so that they understand how to relate to emotions.
So the child's not mirroring mom's emotional cues.
Correct.
Is there any indication that, one of the arguments that may be brought up is, okay, well, it makes sense that this child's having this response to a caregiver who the child sees on a regular basis versus mom, who's just twice a week, very short periods of time relative to the caregiver. And with that, is there any indication that there should be an expansion of parenting time?
I do not believe expanding his parenting time would be in his best interest at this time. Mother currently struggles with the parenting time already given to her, and I believe that she would continue to struggle if allowed more time.
Other than the behaviors that you just testified to, which to me kind of were more about the child's responses and attachments to the caregivers and mom, does the child seem to experience any distress or discomfort during parenting time?
He does not. Mom is very hands-on with him. She does tend to struggle still picking him up, and so he does seem uncertain when she seems uncertain. But usually, between myself and the other parenting instructors, we are there to kind of pick up the pieces, ensure that mom is adequately caring for him.
I noticed in, I believe it's Orchard's reports, that there seems to be the Orchard's worker and then either one or two people from the department. Can you help us understand who's present during parenting times?
So in regards to the parenting time with L&L, it is Miss Lomas and Miss Edwards. And then the Thursday visitation is supervised by Orchards Children's Services and myself. There have been a few other people in my department that have covered for me over this reporting period. They have all been familiar with this case, such as Sarah Harvey, who had did the initial removal and was able to provide feedback.
Wonderful. Is there anything else that you believe the court should know for purposes of today's hearing?
Mom really does try. She puts her best effort into what she is doing on paper when she is doing the quizzes and regurgitating the information. She is doing her best. I 100% believe that she is making effort. My concern is that it doesn't seem to be happening quick enough and efficient enough. And I'm worried that those skills may never develop.
Thank you. With that, Your Honor, I have no further questions of Ms. Kopis and move to admit the court report with the attachments.
No objection.
I have no
No
objection.
objection.
Okay, thank you. They are received. Questions for this witness, Mr. McFarland?
This child was taken almost immediately from mom at birth, if I recall, correct?
Yes,
And mother's visitation has been how many hours per week?
twice a week for 2 hours for a total of 4 hours.
So do you really expect that 4 hours a week, this child is going to form some type of bond with somebody who he's never lived with?
I do, because I've seen him also engage with myself, and I see him just as much as mom, if not less than mother. I've seen him in different environments, and he will respond to me differently than he will respond to mother.
You understand that both of these parents have some diagnosed impediments, right?
Yes.
Under the American with Disabilities Act, what is your agency or yourself doing to comply with the ADA?
In regards with mother, we have implemented more parenting education. Each parenting education program is working individually one-on-one with mother. We've also implemented short quizzes to ensure that she's getting all the information and obtaining them. And then she also has the opportunity to review that material with me as well. Material is read to her if she is unable to read it or understand it. She does appear on paper to be understanding some of the course material.
What about father?
In regards to father, he has begun parenting classes with CPC of Lenawee. My main priority for him right now is that he needs emotional stability in order to move forward. We've attempted to help him in services. He has been in services. He does not appear to follow through with providers.
I understand he does not have a cell phone. Is that still correct?
Yes.
Is your agency able to help him get a government phone?
I'm happy to assist with that. I don't know the logistics of it, but we can moving forward. He's always indicated that we can contact him through email, as he does have a tablet, and that we can also reach out to him through Ms. Lomas's phone.
Has that 3-month countdown started, or is that reset? Where do you stand for him having parenting time?
I apologize, I don't
In your
understand.
psychological evaluation, it suggested a 3-month period of compliance and mental stability. Is that running, or have we not started that?
My expectation would have been that he would have begun that as soon as he did that psychological and began his initial mental health services following being hospitalized. So as far as we're concerned, that clock has already been running.
So has he demonstrated, well, he needs a 3-month period of time demonstrating mental stability. Is he in that cycle? Is he demonstrating mental stability right now to start that clock would be my question.
No.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Questions, Mr. Brooks?
My client is, as you've testified, attending various services under the sponsorship of your department. Could you tell me what they are again?
So the services that we implemented were Orchards Children's Services, the parenting education program, and L&L Parenting Aid. She initiated CPC of Lenawee on her own, and as well as her mental health services.
Could you tell me what's involved with those latter two agencies?
So the agencies that we put into place are hands-on. They work through a variety of skills.
What does that mean, hands-on?
It means that we are actively involved with her. So if Jackie's on the floor with the baby, then I am on the floor with her and the baby. We're never within not without arm's distance of her in case that she drops or has anything that needs to be helped to picked up. She does struggle to carry him, and so there have been times when I have been behind her ensuring that she does not drop him.
You say struggles not to drop him, is that right?
Yes.
In what sense do you mean? I mean,
If
how'd
she-
she struggle not to drop the baby?
So when she is bending down to pick him up from the floor, she gets stuck in that position and then has to hold it. And then I am uncertain as to whether she is able to bring herself fully up or if she has to leave him on the floor. And she struggles in those transition positions. So she struggles with holding him while she transitions to sitting down, or while she's standing up to sit down, she struggles to transition with him in her arms.
Has she ever actually dropped the child?
She has not.
Do you know whether my client can read and write?
She reports to us that she can read and write. It's been my experience that she cannot read as fluently as she has articulated.
Have you ever tested her to have her read something to you?
We've had her read through the material given to her by Orchards, and then there are quizzes that she has to read and answer those questions. She does appear to understand those.
All right. Is there anything she's done that would indicate to you that she cannot understand or cannot read and write?
She does not appear to understand the court report. She doesn't appear to understand certain other documents provided to her. I do believe it is a comprehension issue.
All right. Now, you say she's seeing the child, what, 4 hours a week? Have I got that right?
Yes. As well as she does participate, she has previously participated in medical appointments and those things as well.
That's in addition to the 4 hours a week?
Yes,
And is she attending those doctor's appointments?
yes,
Is she attending her visitation faithfully?
she is.
When she's caring for the child, and I assume the child needs care during each of those 2-hour intervals, is she performing the functions that need to be done in a way that's appropriate?
She is making her best effort to do that. She is within her skill set to care for him. The issue is that some of her skills have not quite caught up to him. As an example, she still struggles with feeding him a bottle and trying to figure out the timing of when he's due to eat next, and he's already moving on to solid foods. And we haven't even been able to introduce that as a skill set because we have yet to master the first half.
In what way is she deficient?
If I were, as an example, if S arrived to visit and he had eaten at 10:30 and it had 6 ounces, it is up to mother to calculate the next 3 to 4 hours, which he will likely to eat next. She's unable to do that independently on her own and often gets confused with numbers and does not understand. She will guess the number instead of working it out. Myself and Miss Edwards will have to count out the numbers with her and then come up with the time that the child eats next. By the time he's due to eat, she will have forgotten that time and will have forgotten that calculation that we worked out earlier in the visit.
I believe in response to Mr. McFarland's question, you indicated that you thought my client and the father had certain deficiencies. Is that right?
Yes.
Would you tell me what you think my client's deficiency is?
According to the psychological, Ms. Lomas has an IQ of 58, which shows us a level of impairment. I worry that she is unable to sometimes care for herself. We've had issues in terms of her hygiene coming to parenting time. We've had issues again with calculating feeding time for him. The parenting information that she does appear to understand, she cannot remember several weeks later. If you were to ask her again, what did you learn in week 2? She would not be able to articulate what she had learned. She struggles to overall give me answers to basic questions, such as who's her neurologist? When's the last time you had appointments? Even when she attends as his parenting time, she's indicated that she needs her mother to be present with her so that she ensures that she understands all of the information and is worried she'll miss something without her mother present.
You've indicated that you have seen my client read and write. Is that right?
Yes,
Would that be consistent with an IQ test of 58?
I'm uncertain of that.
Your Honor, I was just going to object to that line of questioning. I just think that it calls for Ms. Copus to speculate beyond what she's capable of testifying to. I've allowed this type of questioning to go on for quite some time, but this information was provided to the court and to the attorneys at trial and again at the initial disposition. And so if they're trying to get at something such as services are not adequate, then I believe it's incumbent on them to bring up what services are inadequate and what services would be adequate and how the parent would fare better.
The response to I guess it's an objection. I didn't bring up the IQ of 58, the witness did. And to say I can't follow up on that, question her on that is frankly just unfair. Of course I can cross-examine her on that. If the witness is not qualified to testify as to having an IQ of 58, then it shouldn't have been brought up in the first place. But it has been. And I'm not going to be restricted in my ability to impeach that particular information if I'm able to do so.
I think Ms. Copus did a fine job in responding to the question about IQ, and I do agree that much of the information that's being solicited from her has been testified to in direct and was contained in the court reports and the attachments and exhibits. Nevertheless, Mr. Brooks does have the right to cross-examination. And I think some of the examples and the things that she's walking through are important for the record, for the parents to hear as well. So I am gonna allow him to continue his line of questioning.
Thank you, Your Honor. I don't have a great deal more to ask you, ma'am. She's cooperative, correct?
Yes,
She appears to be motivated in your impression of what she's trying to do?
yes, she loves her son very much.
That's all I have.
Ms. Underwood?
How are you, Ms. Copus?
I'm well, thank you.
Would you say that Ms. Lomas struggles with mastering skills in time for them to be utilized before the child has develops a new set of skills?
Yes,
Okay, so true that Ms. Lomas maybe did make some progress with diapering or changing while he was immobile.
I'm actually going, no, because we're still having the same issues regardless of his movement. We're still having the same issue with regards to wiping, where she is not quite fully getting the genitalia, but is cleaning the inner thighs of the child instead of actually where she needs to, and has to be reminded and instructed regularly of what she should actually be doing.
So is it fair to say then that the concerns with Ms. Lomas's ability to diaper and clothe a child are exacerbated by the child now being mobile?
Yes, my last face-to-face where I watched her parenting time, it took her approximately 20 minutes to change him.
What is the department's position as far as permanency for this child? What is the goal at this time?
The goal is reunification.
Have there been any considerations of a concurrent goal of adoption?
We have explored that with the caregiver. We have explored that also with relatives that have been involved. At this time, the goal still remains reunification. I would like to see mother complete some of these programs such as orchards and see how much benefit we can see from them. But at this point, we are seeing very little benefit.
At what point would the department consider a goal change?
At the completion of the parenting education with Orchards, that would be the full 16-week program in combination with the 6 months of intervention with L&L, and then the 6 months of intervention with CPC of Onaway. She is scheduled to finish with Orchards at the end of this month.
So is it fair to say in the next 90 days, we'll have a better idea of the outlook of this case with respect to whether a goal change is appropriate?
I think in the next 60 days, but definitely in the next 90. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Redirect Ms. Thomas.
No, Your Honor.
Any other questions, Mr. McFarland?
Just a few. From your opinion is the child is nowhere close to being reunited with the parents in their current apartment, correct?
Correct.
So how the apartment set up really is not relevant at this point, correct?
It's not so much how the house is or isn't set up. It's the mindset that the parents don't see the significance in turning their apartment into a home to provide an adequate home for this child. They do not see the importance or relevance of furniture to provide a home. They have the basics of what they need and an air mattress for the relative. My concern is that the furniture that they do have for the baby, he will outgrow by the time if he were to be reunified at this point.
Which led me into, I think you kind of anticipated, but the relative, is that the mother-in-law? Or I should say, the biological or the maternal grandmother, is she living there?
She is temporarily residing in the home, yes.
Have you tested her or talked to her to see if she knows how a grandchild should be handled, how the child should be fed, etc.? Have you questioned her about that?
I have not had that direct conversation because it's not my expectation that she will be parenting this child.
Not parenting, but if she were a 24-hour companion to her daughter, might that bolster the safety of the child?
I think given her CPS history, I would still have concerns. I would also have concerns that a parent would need some sort of companion 24 hours to raise their child.
You had I imagine there are cases in which there are parents who are mentally challenged that have a child in an extended family to help them. That doesn't mean CPS becomes involved, right?
I couldn't speak to that.
Nothing further.
Mr. Brooks?
No, I have no further questions for this witness.
Thank you for your testimony. We return your seat. Thank you. Any other witnesses, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. McFarland?
My client has asked that he would like to testify, so I call him. Please watch your head, sir.
All right, Mr. Herman Duckworth, coming up to our witness stand.
You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Always.
Watch your step.
How would you like me to address you today? Sorry.
Dakota, Cody, anyone works.
Eddie, what?
Dakota or Cody?
Oh, okay. Dakota? You wanted to comment on what you've heard so far, right?
So the first thing that I wanted to mention was my mental state. I actually told her that I went to a new psychiatrist because the old psychiatrist I had repeatedly asked for over 3 months to explicitly change my meds. They were not affecting my mood at all. They were literally making me almost to the point where I didn't want to go outside at all. And that is a very big thing for me. I was even on a weed at that point, which is the normal thing that lets me go outside and have my joy time.
Do you have a new psychiatrist now?
Yep, I have a new psychiatrist. I'm also taking new medications that is specifically for my mood stabilization. I've been taking those for at least 2 months.
Okay, who is that psychiatrist? Do you mind
I
sharing?
don't remember off the top of my head because it's the newest psychiatrist that
You
I've
know
only
where-
met him twice.
Do you know where he practices, what the name of the facility is?
I believe it is the same counseling place that my honey goes to, but I do not remember off the top of my head because it's literally, I've only been there twice and I've had 2 telehealth visits.
Would you be willing to sign a release so Ms. Copus can contact your provider and verify that you've been doing that? Would that be okay? Okay. What else would you like to comment on today?
Most of the time, whenever I'm even in a emotional irregularity, which is normally, I have two modes, which is normally grumpy or sad. And when I'm sad, I usually go and stay away from people. She's already seen that because last actual, court case, she caused one of those episodes to happen. When I had asked her to leave me alone, she did not.
Who's the she?
Uh,
Ms. Copus?
yes.
Okay.
And those are one of my stipulations. I have ADHD, bipolar disorder with, depression, which normally if something depresses me, I usually ask them to leave me alone so I can reformulate my thoughts so that I can actually have a moment. If that is not the case and we want to rediscuss that, I would like to rediscuss it at a later time normally, but that never usually happens. So.
If they want to have you do a test, some type, drop a urine test to verify you're taking your medications, what would be your thoughts on that?
I would be fine with doing that. I'm taking them now. That's another reason why my mood is stabilized on court at least.
Okay. And do you understand that the psychiatrist who interviewed you would like to see 3 months of you maintaining stability in order to have
Yes.
personal visits?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I was originally taking the medicine that was prescribed over a month ago, or it was 2 months ago, because of the reason that I had issues with it. And then I stopped taking it a month, and then I told her about it, and that didn't happen.
Did you wish to address you not having virtual visits with your child?
Yeah, actually, the reason why I originally didn't want to have virtual visits is because I didn't want to look like I was crying on the mic. Because I'm going to constantly be thinking about my child and that kind of thing.
What about now?
Still the same answer.
Okay, I appreciate your frankness and honesty. What do you think that we can do to help you on this case?
The reason why I said counseling would not work for me, and I'm going to be honest with you, the major reason is because every time that I go in there, they're going to want me to talk about my life. That usually just brings up bad memories, and then I have to go home. That's every time that I've gone to a counselor. That means every single time I'm going to be almost grumpy when I come home. That gets usually brought around the house, even if I'm on my mood stabilizer. That's usually why I try and offset it with caffeine or marijuana.
So that's your triggers is what you're telling me.
Yeah, my triggers, normally.
Anything else? This is your opportunity. Anything else you want to express to the court today?
Half the time when I have come home, or my honey has come home, she said the visits have been doing fine. The last visit when she was actually having her baby visit, she said the baby was kicking so much that it even broke a nail, which caused her to bleed. Which was on top of that, one of the reasons why she was having issues. Oh, also, they had the gall to send her a baby doll after we had explicitly asked her not to do that. And they say that she's not able to actually take care of it. This baby doll does not move. It does not do anything. It literally just sits there. Thought I would mention that.
Fair enough. There's a doll. Did you see the doll?
Yes, I did. It's called Love Baby.
This a doll you can feed and diaper and things like that?
It doesn't have any of those attachments to it.
Fair enough. Concluded with what you want to say?
For right now, yeah.
Well, why don't you stick around? We'll see if any other attorneys have questions for you, okay?
Okay.
Any questions, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Brooks?
Mr. Harmon Duckworth, you are obviously aware of your mood cycles, if I may
Yes,
call them.
very much so.
The question has been asked to the previous witness, Ms. Copus, whether she believes you have maintained or made progress towards mood stabilization. Do you remember her being asked that?
Yep, I actually haven't really had any real talks with her. She actually has been going behind my back to actually talk to my honey, asking
Well,
for
let
my
me ask you a
prescriptions
question.
and
This
everything
is
else.
just the preliminaries to following up with a question.
Yep, sorry.
The question I have for you is, do you agree with her statement?
No, I do not. I'm gonna be honest.
Let me ask the question,
Alright.
please. Do you agree with the statement that you have made no progress in the last 2 months in achieving mood stabilization from the way it was before?
Not since I've been taking this new medication, honestly.
And how long have you been taking that new medication?
It's been 2 weeks to be exact. I'm giving you the exact timeframes that I've been trying to get these up instead.
And in that 2 weeks, have you felt a difference in your moods?
Honestly, yeah. I even mentioned that to Miss Copus too, about my new medication that I was taking too. I just couldn't give her the answer to it because I've had so many medications in the last 2 months.
And how often rather, excuse me, do you speak to Ms. Copus?
The last time was only at the family team meeting. After that, I haven't really talked to her.
And when was that?
I have no recollection of that moment because of times and dates.
So has there been any conversations between you and the caseworker?
Not really.
Let me finish the
Sorry.
question. About your mood stabilization goals.
No, not really, not at all. I'm gonna be honest with you, because whenever they've only seen me literally once, and that was at the family team meeting or at the house visit that was maybe a month ago, roughly around that time.
Do you happen to know what the the different medications you're taking now are?
I know their dosage, but I'm taking doxycycline for my face because my face was causing me issues. I'm taking a new lotion medication that is specifically for my face and an antifungal cream for my face, just to offset that. I'm taking another 25 milligrams of, I think it's tyrosine or something along those lines.
Mhm.
And it's 25 milligrams, and that is for mood stabilization for my bipolar.
And how often do you take that?
I take that every morning, and that normally makes me feel kind of cozy throughout the entire day.
Did you say dozy or cozy?
Cozy, like in a warm blanket kind of deal. Cozy.
All right. Thank you. That's all I have.
Questions, Ms. Underwood?
Dakota, are you still using marijuana in conjunction with your meds?
Yep, and it has actually been offsetting the majority of my side effects. Because whenever the pill starts going down in the later part of the day, I only have to take it at night times normally to help me go to sleep.
And how much marijuana do you typically use on a daily basis?
6 puffs to be exact. And they're from a 1 gram cartridge of marijuana, which is not a lot, I'm gonna be honest with you.
So you're no longer taking the gummies?
I'm not taking the gummies because I have a smoking porch now.
And have you talked to your psychiatrist about using marijuana in conjunction with your psychiatric?
He just
meds?
told me it would make me sleepy. He didn't say it was a problem, unlike the last psychiatrist that actually told me, no, you should stop that.
You heard Mr. McFarland talk about, what if Patty Lomas was a 24-hour caretaker for Jackie? Would that work in your family dynamic?
I mean, yes, it would. It would honestly probably help her a lot because Patty has dealt with a lot of children, which I have seen in the house that it does help slightly. But at the same time, she does have a tendency to overstep her bounds to the point where some things are not the best for Jackie. And Jackie will say that, and Patty will override those.
Historically, you've indicated that you have a pretty tumultuous relationship with Patty. How would you say that relationship is now?
Since she's been back, we literally only had one fight. I'm gonna be honest with you, and that was about the fact that I didn't know that $300 was spent. And that was because money that I didn't know that we thought were saved for other things, for say, furniture for the house, might I add, was that case in point.
So what have you done since the last hearing toward your case service plan?
So I have gone to a doctor's appointment to get my face fixed because that was a big problem that I was worried that it was going to infect the baby, cause any issues or something along those lines. My face is starting to go away since I started taking doxycycline. No issues about that real major. What was the question again? Could you restate it? Okay.
What have you completed in your case service plan?
I've gotten a new psychiatrist. I've gotten new meds. I've gotten the fact that I just haven't gotten counseling done for that fact because the last time that I called up for my counseling, they told me that they couldn't actually provide for my counseling. They didn't know what they could even do for me, honestly. That was what I was told on the phone. I talked to CMH about that too the last time, and they told me the same thing. That's why I got directly sent to a psychiatrist.
So your position that you do not want to have video visits with your child?
The reason why is because I have emotional irregularities when that would be happening, because when I see him, even when I'm seeing a video of him, I start to cry because I can't see him. Wish I could say that wasn't true, but that's the major reason why I have those.
I'm just asking if you want to, if you are continuing to decline those visits.
I'm declining them for now because I can't deal with them emotionally, if you know what I mean.
All right, no further questions.
Any redirect, Mr. McFarland?
None.
Thank you for your testimony. May you return to your seat. Any other witnesses?
No.
Mr. Brooks, any witnesses?
Patty Lois.
Come on up to our witness stand.
Oh, excuse me, I didn't mean Patty. I meant Jackie. Excuse me, I misspoke.
Just raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you
Yes.
God?
Yes.
Don't forget about the step.
Jackie, for the last hour or so, you've been here and heard all of the testimony, haven't you?
Yes.
Is there any comments you'd care to make about what you've heard here?
So at my visits, Ava said that I was not progressing. I would say that that's not true, because he's now rolling around, and he's at that age where he's rolling around and kicking everything, which does make it a little bit difficult to change him sometimes. And it does take about, I would say, like, sometimes it does take about 10 minutes to change him. When I'm wiping, I don't wipe his thighs. I wipe his genitals. What she said about wiping his thighs.
Does the worker or the supervisor step in to correct you when you're doing that?
Sometimes Linda Edwards tells me to wipe him. Sometimes she would tell me to not wipe him so hard. Like, sorry. Sometimes she would tell me to not wipe him hard. Like,
Are you getting the baby clean?
yes, I am.
Have they ever said to you that the job you've done is incomplete?
No.
Now, there has been some sort of sideways references to your mental abilities. You're aware of that?
Yes.
Would you care to comment on that, please?
Well, they say that my mental ability is not stable enough to care for the child.
Right.
Which recently I was diagnosed with ADHD,
by a new site, a new psychiatrist. And I started taking medication for that.
May I interrupt you a minute?
Yes,
Are you aware of whether that psychiatrist has filed a report?
no, she has not.
Does she intend to?
I have not asked her about it.
All right. Are you going to see her again?
Yes,
Would you ask her to, please?
yes, I will.
And submit it to the court.
Yes,
Now, back to what we were talking about. Well, it was your mental acuity, wasn't it?
yes,
Can you read and write?
yes, I can.
Can you type?
Yes, very much.
I believe the report says that they tested your IQ at 58. Is that right?
Yes, it was.
You agree with that assessment?
No,
When you have seen reports or lessons, let's start one at a time. When you've seen lessons that have been provided to you by the department, can you read them?
yes, I can.
Do you understand them?
Yes, very much.
You, in fact, have written stories, have you not?
Yes, I have.
I see one here, which I am not going to bother sending in as an exhibit. But that's a story you wrote and you typed, is it not?
Yes.
What's it about, basically?
It's about a boy, it's called the,
Well, I believe what I asked you is, what's it about?
It's, I'm sorry, it's about a boy, who was framed for his brother's murder and, has to go on to try and solve try to solve the try to find the person who was who framed him.
All right, all right. I'm also looking at the desk here where you and I have been sitting, and I see a notebook that seems to have quite a bit of writing in it, doesn't it?
Yes,
Whose writing is that?
mine.
Do you have any concerns about your ability, your capacity to take instruction from the caregivers who the department has assigned to your case?
No, I do not.
Caseworkers or foster parents?
No,
When they say that you don't seem to remember things from one meeting to the next, would you comment on that, please?
sometimes when they talk, sometimes when Ava Copes is talking to me, or like sometimes usually during the visits when Ava Copes asks me stuff like when did he eat last, or when she's talking to me about usually stuff about like my appointments or whatever, I'm usually trying to be more focused on the baby. Which I'm paying more attention to the baby, so I'm not usually trying to pay attention to Ava. So I can't really, so my attention is trying to be more focused on him rather than her. And I'm trying to split my attention both ways, and it's usually hard for me to what's the word I'm trying to look for? Uh, no, split my attention both ways, I would say.
Your attention is focused on the child.
Yes,
You see. When you get instructions and say 2 or 3 days pass, do you still remember what you were told to do from their perspective the correct way?
yes,
Now, your speech patterns are slow. You're very deliberate in the way you speak, aren't you?
yes, sometimes.
Like when you're under pressure.
Yes, when I get nervous, I'm very slow.
Do you get nervous when you're at these visitations with these caregivers?
Yes, very much.
Are you right now?
Yes,
Conversationally, you would be more back and forth in a quicker manner.
yes.
Do you have any other children?
No,
This is your first baby.
yes, this is my first.
Is there anything else you want the court to know?
I don't think so.
All right, thank you. There may be other people who want to ask you questions.
Questions, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. McFarland?
With your ADHD, is it easier for you to get instructions in writing or for somebody to talk to you with instructions for you to remember?
Usually talk to me. It's usually like when they're talking to me.
How about when you're nervous, like at a visit with your child or in court? Is it easier for you to get things in writing or for people to talk to you at visits?
Sometimes in writing.
Okay. Now with this new psychiatrist, what's your new psychiatrist's name?
Sarah Thomas, I believe.
Would you be willing to sign a release so Ms. Kopis can verify what you're telling us that
Yeah.
you're doing that?
Yeah.
Okay, I have nothing further.
Ms. Underwood?
Jackie, is it true that you do have trouble going from sitting to standing or standing to sitting with the baby?
No. I recently I had a seizure a few weeks ago, and when I had a seizure, I kind of fell on the floor, and when I fell on the floor, I hurt my back, and my back has kind of been hurting me ever since. And it's kind of like, it was kind of hard for me to pick him up a little bit. So that was the reason why it was kind of hard for me to that was the kind of reason why it was hard for me to pick him up. But it's not hard for me to, right now, it's not hard for me to sit or go from sitting to standing. But I have a doctor's appointment coming up very soon.
Is it true that you have issues calculating when the baby needs to eat?
No. I do math in my head. So, from the time the foster parent tells me that, says that when he ate last to when he needs to eat, I do math in my head. And I let Linda Edwards, and I tell Linda Edwards, the time that he needs to eat next.
You don't have any issues remembering that time?
No,
Are you capable of working?
no,
Okay, why not?
because of my seizures,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the end of that.
because of my seizures,
Your fears?
seizures.
Okay.
Are you capable of managing your own funds?
Huh?
Are you capable of managing your own finances?
Yes,
And are you doing that now?
yes, I am.
Right, you had a payee before, so have you now taken over the responsibility of your
No,
own?
I still have a payee, but I am managing my own finances. I pay my own rent and I pay my own bills.
And have you shown Ms. Copus examples of you doing that?
No, because she hasn't asked me for I've given her well, I have given her my lease agreement, but she hasn't asked me for an example of our bill management.
Thank you, no further questions. Okay,
I have one question.
go ahead.
Have your seizures been medically diagnosed?
Yes, they have
What is the cause?
juvenile myoclonic epilepsy.
Thank you, that's all.
Did you have questions, Mr. McGrath?
Just very few. Would you like your mother to be present at the visits? Do you think that'd be helpful to you or not?
They asked if she would like to be. I told them if she can come once a month. But honestly, I would just like it to be me and the baby, because I just want it, like to bond with him myself.
Fair enough. I'll ask. Can you tell us what time it is right now? By looking at the clock behind you? You see that on the wall?
behind you, baby.
I can't really tell because I struggle with telling time.
So is there a way that we can help you keep track of time? For example, if Ms. Copus says a half hour from now, you have to feed your baby. If you had a timer, can you set a timer on your phone or anything?
I have apps on my phone that helps me. But I do math in my head to help me remember, because I'm better I'm better with doing math in my head, counting down in my head, or usually with a calculator.
Okay, nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. You may return to your seat.
No further witnesses.
Ms. Underwood, anyone you'd like us to hear from?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Comments in closing, beginning with the silence, please.
Thank you, Honor. I think a lot of what we've heard today and what was presented in the court report and the attachments echoes what this court was provided back in December as well. I feel like we had the same testimony from both parents at that date and time at the initial disposition. There were some concerns about orchard service, and I believe this court really noted how appalling it was that the reports were so brief. And during this review period, that has changed. The reports are more thorough. They're still really in alignment with what Ms. Edwards testified to at that last hearing as well. And there just isn't enough progress. This child's developing faster than mom's able to catch on to what is needed and how to provide for him. Dad has not made any progress in his case service plan. It's very confusing to try to follow who his providers are, what medicine he's on. It seems like there's contradictory statements even within his testimony all at once. And so, Your Honor, I really believe that at this time, the child is in the safest environment in foster care, that the parents do pose a substantial risk of harm to the child if he were to be returned to them, and that this case needs to continue. The department is offering services that are aimed at assisting the parents with understanding, considering their limitations. And it's sort of a double, I don't know if it's a double-edged sword or how to explain that, but Ms. Lomas is testifying that she can write stories, and is totally capable, yet she can't work because of her seizures. She's unable to recall information when she's flustered or anxious. And a lot of those things are present when you have a young baby in your life. And so I think that the department's doing their best to offer that hands-on parenting education to her, in trying to ensure that she's able to comprehend what is happening and what information is given. The short quizzes to help retain information, I think they're really following the ADA requirements there, but also doing some active efforts for this family. So we will continue to do that. However, with orchards ending soon, I'm not sure how or what other service can be implemented. So, Your Honor, we are asking for another 90-day review as we continue to determine the best course forward. Thank you.
Mr. McFarland?
No objection to a 90-day review, Your Honor. I think my client was adequately able to express his position. Thank you.
Mr. Probst?
Well, I think the department is misunderstanding my goal here for this afternoon's hearing. I'm not trying to get that child back today. What is happening is my client has indicated that when she is under stress, like she would naturally be with these 4-hour, 2-hour visitations with folks with her, that is a stressful situation. That is not hard to believe. The argument I think that I am going to try to make here today is not that she get the same or less parenting time, but that she get more. I mean, people themselves are saying she's not getting emotionally attached to the baby. I forget what the term was that went back and forth, but I get it. I understand what they're saying. I'll even accept that it's probably true, but that's because the mother is a total stranger to this baby. Let's put a stop to that. Let her have some parenting time with this child, more supervised parenting time. The child will get to know the mother will get to know the child. Maybe some of the stressfulness of the situation, having these other people present, will ease up a little bit. That's really what my goal here is today. Let's get more face time between this mom and her, what is that child, 3 months old now?
6 months.
6 months old child. Seems like a reasonable request to me.
Your Honor, this is a difficult situation overall. We have a mom who desperately wants to have the capabilities of caring for her child. However, it's clear to me, both through the evidence provided in the court reports, as well as the testimony, as well as my own personal observations of parenting time, that Ms. Lomas is truly not capable of adequately caring for this child. What Ms. Lomas testified to with respect to being able to stand up and sit down with the child is completely contradictory to what I witnessed myself. Frankly, I was ready to stick my hands out in the event that this child is going to be dropped. I was concerned and always on high alert. And again, I'm not saying that because Miss Lomas isn't trying. I really don't think that that's the case. I observed a diaper change that took several minutes. She attempted to put the diaper on backwards. He kept moving and rolling around, and she was hyper fixated on wiping his genitals when he just had peed. To the point where Miss Edwards had to tell her to stop wiping. Again, these are things that we've been talking about for several months, and there's just not been any progress made, which is unfortunate. On the other hand, we have Mr. Harmon Duckworth, who is still presenting with some mental health issues. It doesn't seem to be taking accountability for any of that, or providing the necessary documentation and information we need to know if he is making progress on his case service plan. He's been provided several opportunities to at least start with FaceTime or video parenting time, and he's declined that. Again, there's an extreme lack of progress on both ends. Again, I think for Miss Lomas, it's not due to lack of trying. I believe that it's appropriate at this time due to the child's age that we consider a concurrent goal of adoption, not just reunification. This child deserves permanency and stability, which he's getting in his current placement. He is in the least restrictive and safest environment, and I believe it is in his best interest that he continue there pending further order of the court. Thank you.
Yeah, the court finds all interested parties are given notice for purposes of today's review hearing and permanency planning hearing. I do find the department has fulfilled its obligation to provide reasonable efforts towards reunification, as has Ms. Underwood in her role as guardian ad litem. The child is in the safest and least restrictive placement at this time, given the continued challenges that the parents are trying to overcome. Obviously, the testimony received from both parents was an attempt to discredit the observations of a number of caseworkers in this particular file. And in fact, even frankly, the guardian ad litem. And I don't think that that's necessarily something that is done in an attempt to discredit the workers, frankly. I think it's an attempt to paint the parents in a better light. And I think it also reflects the idea that we have two parents that really don't understand the limitations that they have and the challenges that are here for this child if this child were to be returned to their care. Mr. Harmon Duckworth is still not exercising parenting time. And I would be very interested in seeing whatever medications and mood stabilizers he is on, but according to the court report and the testimony of Ms. Copas, if he has accomplished that, he has not provided that information to her, which is imperative, considering the fact that that information then has to go to the attorneys and to the court and would demonstrate progress in a very significant high needs, high risk area of his mental health, which he had talked about today a little bit. And we heard about in depth at the trial and what sort of limitations and aggression manifests when Mr. Harmon Duckworth is not, and in fact, sometimes even when he is medicated, whether it's his choice of medications or the psychiatric choice of medications. We've seen no relief from those symptoms under either category, which puts this child at significant risk of harm if returned to his care. Ms. Jacqueline Lomas continues to reside with Mr. Harmon Duckworth, and we unfortunately would not be able to rely on her to care for this child for many of the reasons explored in the record today and contained in the court report, including something as simple as picking him up and placing him down, changing diapers, and retaining the skill sets that she needs to make sure that he gets his basic needs met. So there are clearly some significant needs here, and despite attempts by Ms. Lomas for sure, and maybe even Mr. Harmon Duckworth's attempts, there's clearly no progress happening here in order to create an environment that would be safe for this child to live in if he were to be returned to these parents at this time. I give Ms. Copas a lot of credit here for not asking me to change the goal to adoption today, given the frustration and the high level of risk, frankly, even occurring during parenting time as it relates to Ms. Lomas and her attempts to take care of this child, even on a very limited basis. I find her testimony and the remarks in the parenting time observations and the court report by the other professionals hired to assist in this case to be credible and consistent with what's been described over the course of the past 6 months. I will not allow any increase in parenting time until and unless we see some gains, and that's my decision on parenting time. We'll have our next review and permanency planning hearing on May 12th at 10:30 in the morning. It's a Monday, so Monday, May 12th at 10:30 will be our next dispositional review and permanency planning hearing. And I would be inclined to acknowledge that the dual goal is appropriate in this case, as requested by our guardian ad litem. And I'll review that at our next juncture as well. So for today, given the limited prognosis for improvement and the need for this child at this very young age to be stabilized and continue to develop, I am going to change it to a dual goal of adoption and reunification, and we'll see where we are at the next juncture.
Your Honor, when we're off record, do you want the new address?
Yes. Thank you. All right. That's all for today.